Hello, everyone. I'm Alice, and I am going to take you on a little tour of some of the pictures and some of my work that I've done. Well, I was a teacher, married, and had a lovely big house, and decided to leave this abusive relationship. And here I am. I'll just show you some of the stage work that came from it and the work as I became homeless, lost my job, and lost my mind completely. I'm going to start and finish with this image, which is one of my favorites and is how really I kind of feel inside still. I think this is my child. But this was in my first stage show, and I became a drag queen called Swingerella. Be careful if you Google that because you'll see all the ways that I broke the law. Um, we talked about dissociative disorder, and I think there was something in there, was acting out some sort of trauma. That was at Pride. And if you look at my eyes there, you'll see the trauma, dead eyes. So there we are. That's how I started. And I think I was probably becoming homeless by that point, but at least I had a nice t-shirt. I went on to Come Dine With Me, which was a major mistake because my mental health being what it was at the time, I took this photograph they did of me. This is from a still from the show to believe that my alter ego really was real and that there was two of me. So beware going on TV, I would say. All through this, I was writing, which kind of saved me because I seemed to be quite good at it and I was performing it too. I went and drove a tank and decided that this is a good enough picture as any to, it was a good driving a tank to lead for my Edinburgh Fringe show, which was poetry and burlesque. And then these are some shots from an old mill that I nearly fell through the floor in because the floorboards were old. And I just thought this to me was a survivor of domestic abuse. There's only Marmite in the cupboard, so just get eating it. Plus, by this point, people really loved or hated me as this character, so I felt like Marmite. Again, this is another way of me showing what I felt domestic abuse left you with. No house. You want to make someone a cup of tea, but you've got no water, and oh dear, you ran off without your clothes. This is from the first stage show, Wrecking Ball, fairly self-explanatory. That's pretty much how I felt. And made the mistake of going on to Britain's Got Talent as well, and was not really mentally well enough to have done so. The performing started to get to me after about 3 years. This is me in London just before I went on, starting to feel very mentally ill. I did a good performance though. And this was in Edinburgh. They're all mixed up because I wanted to show that recovery is mixed up and not linear. A great opening scene from the Edinburgh show, actually caught at Edinburgh, where she cut those stitches off my mouth. I did a lot of nudity and I got in trouble for it a lot. Got sacked from my job because I was mentally ill and having my house repossessed, which ended up being embarrassing for a private school. I'm an English teacher, and one of the parents said, "We don't want scum like you at the school." So I took that. We've been talking about this earlier on in the day. I took it and tried to, as you can see, I'm upset on my face, but I tried to put it into my art in some way. This is about 4 years on the asylum in Wolverhampton, one of my favourite photographs because it's I've got the character look down. That's a skirt that I'm wearing around my neck. This made me laugh. I thought you'd like to look back at this photo from 2 years ago where you ate dog food out of a bowl in front of strangers. No, I don't really want to see that. There's the trauma eyes again. Um, I'm 8 years sober today, which I'm pretty happy about. But unfortunately, I used to try and get sober, and the audience used to buy me drinks. I'm not blaming them, but that's another point where, oh dear, I fell off the wagon. Did a lot of work with mirrors to show disassociation of PTSD, and that's the mill again. I nearly fell through the floorboards there. Um, now I'm talking a lot about l'exploitation. We've talked about it tonight, the exploitation of people with lived experience. Why on earth were they paying tickets for me to perform like this? Why didn't they actually say something or try and help me? I think we get exploited, and I'm writing a book about it. One of my fave photos again, the lens, the camera, the mirror, just exploring that PTSD aspect of who the fuck am I? I don't know. That was after a particularly bad night on the booze. This was a no, it was about a 10 or 20-foot picture in an exhibition of me. Um, yeah, I don't know what was going on there.
That's 5 minutes.
Okay, this favorite one, pride. Again, domestic abuse. That's how it might feel. And did a lot of activism, magazines, which again were just exploitative, angry poetry in Wolverhampton, uh, sleeping a lot, and then gratuitous picture of really nice gay guys at another Pride, awards that don't mean anything, a bit of recovery at the end, and I wanted to finish again because I think that with experiences like mine, I think I'm probably always going to feel like this inside. But if it makes you all happier, I'll finish on the happy one. There you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see if I can stop sharing your screen. There we are.